This is an IBM Netvista A30P from around 2002, and it might just be the most IBM looking thing that I've ever seen. Although its ancient Pentium 4 Northwood processor can't even run Windows 10, we're gonna breathe new life into this thing with a really interesting modern ultra lightweight Linux distro. And then we're gonna try and join a Zoom call with it, so stay tuned. And if you enjoy using entirely the wrong tool for the job, on purpose, I hope you'll consider subscribing to the channel. The IBM Netvista here is a product of the final years of IBM's PC business, before the late 2000s sale to Lenovo. It's a jet black monolith, angular and imposing, and over-engineered to a degree that would make Apple jealous. The case comes apart with a series of blue latches that stand out in stark contrast to the black plastics, at times releasing panels on completely the opposite side of the case. The optical drive bays are also slanted ever so slightly downwards, one can only assume for the sake of fashion. In 2002, you might have been, "Dude, I'm getting a Dell at home," but at the office, corporate wanted you to circle back to an IBM Netvista. Unless they were cheap, in which case, you're getting a Dell. I picked up this particular Netvista at VCF last year, partially because it looks cool, and also because I wanted to use Tiny 10, the minimalist Windows 10 distro for extremely old computers. This was before I knew that some early Pentium 4s couldn't run Windows 10 at all, due to the Northwood not being NX capable. Though if you know different, let me know down in the comments, please. But what this old P4 will run is MX Linux, a modern Linux distro that, if you choose the Fluxbox variant, is both ridiculously lightweight on resources and very pleasant, modern, and user-friendly. But before we get into all that, we're gonna need to find an SSD for this thing. Behold, the new and/or improved wheel of SSDs. The old one didn't hold up so well. All right, let's see what we get. All right, looks like it's a Kingston. Right after a quick word about today's sponsor, Opera. The Opera web browser is the best thing to come out of Norway since Pinnekjot. And there is a whole new Opera, Opera One R2. Opera One R2 is a reimagined, updated Opera browser with an elevated music and video playback experience, new tab capabilities, and beautiful dynamic themes. Opera Player allows you to control music and video from within Opera without interrupting your browsing session. Pause or skip a song by hovering over the player icon. The player even pops out. Opera One R2 is built from the ground up for theming and customization. Choose between themes like Classic, Aurora, and Midsummer. Tinker with endless combinations. Mode, intensity, animation, sounds, colors. The split screen feature is super convenient for things like research, writing scripts. Just drag a tab into the window to open it in split screen mode. Opera One R2 also has ARIA command line built in. Ask it questions without opening the sidebar or extra tabs. I found this useful for things like asking questions about the page I'm on, or asking it to do things like summarize a Reddit thread. Just use Control// or Command/ on Mac to open it. It can also do image generation and image recognition. Upload an image and ARIA can interpret it and understand it. So check out Opera One R2 using the link down in my description below. It's an excellent browser with excellent features you just can't find anywhere else. And thank you so much, Opera, for sponsoring today's video. So we'll just have a dig in the old junk drawer to find a SATA to IDE adapter, so we can put this lovely Kingston in this IDE only Pentium 4. All these doors and latches really make getting into this thing convenient. I'll stick that in there a little more securely later. And since we're gonna do something incredibly silly and try to run Zoom on this thing, I'm gonna give it the benefit of a nice gigabit Ethernet card from StarTech. Pop that into an open PCI slot. Stick the weird little purple retainer bracket back in. Got a nice ISO LCD to pair with this. And a nice pair of black RGB speakers. Matching mouse pad. and the best PS2 keyboard that IBM ever made. And as is tradition, we have to see if that random SSD tries to boot into anything. I guess not. Now, instead of burning a CDR to install MX Linux, we're going to use a really cool piece of kit called the iOD. This is an optical disk emulator that you can load ISOs onto, and as opposed to a USB stick, your old computer will happily see this as a CD-ROM drive and boot from it. MX Linux is a lightweight distro, which is a cooperative venture between the Antix and MX Linux communities. And although the XFCE version is the flagship version, we're going to use the 32-bit version with Fluxbox as the window manager because that is incredibly lightweight. There's a lot of other cool stuff about MX Linux, and we'll scratch the surface of that once we get through this install. Here we are in the live environment already. Quite responsive and snappy. We're just going to go ahead though and install MX Linux. Computer name here will be P4, default username Sean, and then a very secure password, and same password for root as you do. All right, and we are installing. The iOD is blinking away. This really handy device was recommended to me by a very nice fellow at VCF SoCal last year. He's also part of a really cool organization that I oughta link down below. Get it? I oughta? Anyway, jump cut to this install being complete. And here we are, really rather quickly booted into MX Linux. And a really rather lovely default Fluxbox experience. Look how nice this looks. Since we are based on Debian 6.1 here, we have both apt-get and RPM to install packages, and we can actually just install Debian packages. We even have dpackage, where we can install random.deb files that we find on the internet. And in fact, that's how we're getting Zoom onto this thing. I found a random Stack Overflow thread that has linked to old Ubuntu versions of the 32-bit client. I've got the Zoom i386 deb here. Let's install it with dpackage. Downloading the dependencies from Debian repositories. Oh my god, it's launching. Oh, no frickin' way. All right, let's start a new Zoom meeting from my phone. Oh, it sees the webcam. Oh my god, it works. Oh, my video preview looks great. Yeah, join with video. I'm sure that'll be fine. This is working considerably better than I anticipated. I mean, we are running old Ubuntu software just installed straight from a random deb that we found in Stack Overflow, and it's working. Oh my god, it's working. It's a slideshow, but it's working. Oh, it's popping up to ask me very slowly whether I want to join with audio. Joining a Zoom call from a 2002 Pentium 4. Oh no! It's sending audio. Oh, it sounds terrible. Oh, it sounds terrible. No, that's it receiving audio from the phone. Oh, God. Oh, it's terrible. Hold on. All right, yeah, here we go. Microphone, the Brio microphone. Oh, it's working. Oh, it's just as choppy coming out of here. This is the funniest thing I've ever seen. Okay, all right, that's enough. Hold on. We're done here. All right, we need to call someone from our new Pentium 4 Zoom rig. How's it going? I'm just joining from my totally normal Zoom computer where I do all of my important business. It works just fine. It's
Kind of there. Oh, there. Oh God, the audio is terrible.
The audio is as bad as the frame rate.
You're at like half a frame a second. He just disappears.
Well, the video frame rate's actually better than I thought it would be.
You're not missing much. It sounded like his microphone was rolling down a hill and picking up every other sentence.
It sounds like an electronic toy that I played with in the 80s.
All right, well, great catching up with y'all. I'm sure we had a great conversation here on Zoom, this totally normal Zoom call. Oh God, leave. Is the Pentium 4 still like logged in for you?
Yes.
Yeah,
I clicked leave like 100 times, but I think it froze.
Yeah, you're not allowed to leave.
It is still logged in. Oh, is this the new 9 Inch Nails song?
You're gonna have to pull the plug.
It's not gonna let me leave. So what have we learned here today? Boy, isn't Linux fun? Also, computers like this often wind up in e-waste or, even worse, landfills, when there's still so much fun you can have with these tinkering around and learning stuff. It's a fun challenge to get something cool to work on an old computer like this, but it really is fun. And you can find these for, well, basically nothing. Just had a sticker on it that said $20, but I'm pretty sure I got it for free on the Free Pilot VCF. I will of course link all of this fun stuff down in the description below. MX Linux is really quite cool, and I've only scratched the surface of all the fun things it can do. I have some other 32-bit machines I really want to try it out on. But in any event, that'll do it for today's video. If you enjoyed it, I'd appreciate a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more weird stuff like this, please subscribe down below. And thank you very much for watching. And I just want to give a very special thank you to all of my Patreon supporters and channel members. Thank you so much, each and every one of you, for supporting me and supporting this channel and all the weird stuff I do. I am so very grateful, and I just could not do this without you.